Okay, I am here to talk about housing. I couldn't think of the word. Housing options. Someone asked me in one of my other videos to talk about this, and as promised, here we are. Honestly, three things. One, I wanted to plan out this video and make sure that I hit all the things I want to talk about so that I could give the best and most accurate information possible. However, this is a really bad time for me to be trying to film a video, edit, and upload because, first of all, I have an exam in 30 minutes. Second of all, it's finals week next week, and it's Friday currently. I have a final on Monday and then a final on Tuesday, and I have a lot of assignments due over the weekend, so I feel a little bit panicked about that. I also just had coffee, so I'm a little bit jittery, but I wanted to try to get this up before housing decisions need to be made. I'm not even sure if I've already missed the deadline. I'm hoping not, and I'm hoping that even if it's last minute, it could be helpful. So first thing I'll talk about is kind of the different options. I can't really speak to the different buildings because I haven't lived in them, nor do I fully know how things work, but from friends that I have who do live in them and having gone over their apartments and stuff, they are pretty nice apartments. They're regular New York City-like apartments, and you can choose the room that you're in and how many roommates you have. So there are 2-bedroom apartments and 3-bedroom apartments. The 3-bedroom apartments are cheaper than the 2-bedroom apartments, and then the dorms, which is what I'm in, are the cheapest of all the options, but it's a totally separate building. Those apartments are big, they're spacious, they have a lot of light. There's a laundry room. One of the buildings has a treadmill room, I think, but I'm not really sure how many treadmills or anything. But it is kind of convenient if you like running or just walking on the treadmill to have that right in your building. I think that's for towers too. I think that's about as much as I can say about those buildings because, again, I don't live in them. My building is dorm only, and they're single person dorms. So that was kind of my trade-off, was I wanted to be in my own space, and in exchange for that, I was willing to give up my private bathroom and shower situation. So it is communal showers and bathrooms. But there are co-ed floors, and then there are female-only floors, so that was something really important for me. I wanted to be on a female-only floor, and honestly, I thought it would be a lot more hectic and I'd be running into people all the time, but I feel like I don't really run into that many people in the bathroom, especially in the summer semesters because most students go home, so it really is pretty empty. There's also one kitchen for the entire building, which is probably my own fault, but I was under the impression that every floor had a separate kitchen, so that was a bit of a surprise when I got here and realized actually there's only one kitchen. It does have 2 stovetops, 2 ovens, maybe 1 sink, and maybe 2 refrigerators. I really haven't been up there much, but I know that there are lockers as well where you can store your items, but I've just seen people carrying things up and down as they need. Actually, I saw this one person who had a one of those little rolling carts that you can get at IKEA or Target or something, and they just have all their stuff set there, and then they can just bring it up and down as they need. So I thought that was pretty smart. Another difference that I can think between the dorms and the other buildings is that most of the dorms come fully furnished, whereas the other buildings, like the apartments, don't, and you're expected to bring your own bed, all your things. The bed that comes with the dorms is a twin XL, which is a little bit inconvenient because the mattress isn't the best, so I did have to buy a mattress topper, and then you have to get sheets and stuff for it. I actually only have 1 set of sheets, and I just have to be really consistent about washing them and changing them out, which I was a little stressed about. I didn't know how I'd be able to handle it, but actually it's been totally fine. I just didn't want to have to buy extra sheets and then not know what to do with them after, because it's pretty uncommon that people will have twin XLs. The bed also has a height adjustable frame. Mine isn't even at the highest prong, but I can fit comfortably under there 2 big suitcases and 2 storage bins, so you don't need bed risers or anything like that. The only piece of furniture that can be swapped out in here is actually the bed frame. However, I don't think even a full would fit in here comfortably. I think it would feel pretty tight and crowded, so I don't know. If it's really important that you have a full, you can do it, so that's good, but I just kind of deal with it. There is a big piece of furniture that I have in here that I don't love, and I asked them to take it out, and they said that they don't do that. That's where I learned that only beds are taken out. But I'm making it work. I actually have it full of stuff, and it's like extremely disorganized and kind of a disaster, but it has been helpful in the end. I do know that not every dorm has this though, so I guess just kind of depends. The closet in here is pretty large, so I do like that. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I'm able to fit a lot in there, so that's been really convenient. Another really important thing for me was having a sink in my room. You can choose between having a sink and not having a sink, and it's been so helpful to have a sink because it means that you don't have to go out into the bathroom carrying all your stuff every morning and every night. You don't have to bring out your bowls and spoons. You can just wash it here. So it really has made my life a lot easier, even though the actual sink is not the best. The faucet is like really close to the back of it and it's really low, so it kind of takes a lot of maneuvering, but you know, we make do. Another downside of being in this specific building in the dorms is that you're not allowed to cook in here. And I learned that the hard way. I accidentally set off the smoke alarm, and then they had to do this whole investigation and come and look, and they were like, you're not allowed to do that. I had a toaster oven in here, so that's very much my fault. I should have read the contract more carefully. I still have it here, but I'm so scared I don't use it anymore. So you kind of have to either go to the kitchen to make your meals or kind of live off of microwaved food or get your food out at delis or restaurants, and there aren't that many food places around here. Other than that, I really like living on campus. It makes my life a lot easier in terms of commuting. I'm someone who has not the best time management, so anything that helps make my time shorter to get to things and to get back home is really helpful. There are other students who actually appreciate their commute because it's a good time to listen to lectures or quiz themselves. But I do know some students who lived relatively close prior to starting the program and then decided to move to campus to just kind of help with making things a little bit easier on themselves. Another pro about living in this specific building is that everything is kind of here. So the mailroom for all the on-campus students is in this building. The gym, which includes a pool and a sauna, is in this building. And then there are some like large spaces that are used for events and stuff that I usually, not usually, but sometimes I'll go in there and study, and it's a nice like ample desks, and there's a lot of natural light, and they kind of stay open 24/7. So usually on the weekends there's no one there, or late nights there's no one there, or there's just other students studying. So it's kind of a nice environment to study in. So that's helpful, I guess. There is a vending machine down there. Oh, one more con that I can think of is that it does get a little bit dusty in here. So I find myself having to vacuum a lot and clear dust a lot, especially because I am very, very allergic and sensitive to dust. So it's something that I kind of have to stay on top of, and I start getting stuffy and whatever, and I'm like, ooh, I definitely need to vacuum. So I always have to like wear a mask and all the things because, yeah, it just gets pretty dusty. So that's kind of a downside as well. But it's manageable. I run my air purifier literally 24/7. I never turn that thing off. In the winter, I always had an, a humidifier running because it gets pretty dry from the heater, but I think that's pretty standard in any New York City apartment, or any city apartment in general, probably. The windows aren't super sealed off, but you can request for them to be sealed better. I never had the time for it because it meant having to just pick up my rug. I don't want, boots on my rug. I don't like shoes in the apartment. I don't like shoes in my dorm in general. So it just meant knowing that once I got home from the workers being here, I'd have to mop and all the stuff, and I just couldn't. It just wasn't a priority for me, but I did have a lot of cold nights because either the heater was being weird and the draft was really coming in, or it just happened to be a really, really windy, really, really cold night. So even with the heater, I was getting all this wind, whatever. There's a lot of, little things that come along with that, but ultimately it's such a short span of time. And even though I was kind of worried once I moved in about feeling at home here, because it felt very, like, I don't know, a little bit depressing and a little like, I don't know if I hate the floors, like they're not that great. The walls are all white, whatever. I just have tried to make it feel a little bit homey without also spending too much time on that, because it's such a transition period of my life and I will be out of here before I know it. But it does help to kind of make it feel a little bit like your own space. So I've added plants. I have this cute little whimsical rug. I think it's a children's rug actually, but it just makes me feel cozy and home. Oh, I would also say that there's a lot of people that move out when you would be moving in. So there's people desperate to sell their things, get rid of their things for free. A lot of people just leave things in the hallway hoping that someone will take it. So the majority of things that I have in here have just been things that I have found in the hallway, literally, because I came from a different country, so obviously I didn't have any furniture or anything that I would need, and it's actually worked out for the better that I didn't immediately start buying things, because you kind of don't know what the space feels like, looks like, what this amount of space that you have is before you're actually in it. So I would recommend holding off if you are feeling like maybe you need a nightstand, maybe you need whatever, because you don't know the dimensions of the room before you get inside. Speaking of dimensions, you will be looking at several floor plans when choosing a room. So this is exactly what it looks like. This is my specific dorm. Here, obviously, you'll see some of the room attributes, which are things that I spoke about, and then here you'll see what it comes furnished with. As far as the actual layout goes, I still have no idea what any of these squares are. But when I was looking at this, I wasn't sure if this was the window here or if this was the window. And it turns out this over here is in fact the window. So if you see this on the floor plan, then you can, assume that that's the window and the radiator. This here was kind of obvious that it was a closet, but I didn't want to get my hopes up because it looks pretty big in this layout. And I would say that in person it feels even bigger, so it's kind of nice. The main selling point for me on this particular dorm was actually this little square here. I have found this nook so useful because this is the main entrance, so it kind of gives you a little area to arrive in, right? So you can store your shoes, maybe hang coats, hang your keys. This really, I feel, has been so convenient to have. Most of the floor plans that I looked at actually just ended here, and I can't imagine walking in and not having a place to arrive in. I think that pretty much sums up everything I need to say. I also have my exam now in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, so I do need to get going. But as always, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And I hope this was helpful. I really do. I feel like I was just kind of and I also don't know if housing applications are over now, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, my next video will be kind of about what I think you should purchase and what I think you should not purchase for this program and for maybe nursing in general. Yeah. Bye. Oh my god, I totally forgot to talk about another con. I actually finished out the video, but maybe I'll insert it somewhere in the video where it makes sense. It's pretty regulated here because obviously we want to minimize people coming in who shouldn't be in here. So every time you come into the building, you have to tap your ID card. And same if you have guests. You're only allowed up to 2 guests per day, and the overnight policy is 5 nights per month. So if you are someone who has people over a lot and who cannot be bothered to deal with the inconvenience of constantly requesting passes, then maybe student housing is not the best option for you. But if you think you can kind of deal with the annoyance of it for the 15 months, then, you know, it's something to consider. I thought it was going to be really annoying, and I didn't love that that's the policy. I mean, I understand why it's there, and I do appreciate that they're keeping us safe in that way, but it is annoying. Getting the pass is really straightforward, though. Like, if I were to request it right now, it'd be done in 2 minutes. Like, I'd get it in 2 minutes, and whoever the person is can tap to scan and come in. But it is a pretty, like, from what I remember, I've only ever gotten a pass for like 3 different people, and they're always the same people, so I always just re-request, and I don't have to do the whole pass all over again. But for every new person, you have to like upload a picture of them and their information and all this stuff. So they really make sure that the information, or like the pass that you're scanning, matches the person that's coming in. So that's another, you know, potential con to be aware of. And yeah. Okay, now I really have to go take my exam.